Welcome back, everybody. We're going to start our BT-10 deck profile off with a bang today. As always, joined by Jeff.
Hey, guys.
And we are talking about the boy. We're talking about Machinedramon. We're going to talk about some big changes made for BT-10. Not a lot of new cards from the new format added, but a lot of changes to compete in this new format. So stick around. Let's get going. You are going to see a lot of similar cards. So like just kicking off with the level 2s with the eggs. We are still running the blue base. We are running Digimon to go with the guy. Come on. I mean, we know where we're going,
it's
right?
Like a Wayward City staple at this point.
Yes. I know a lot of people have tried other bases. I've seen some lists going just the straight black or the red because we have those new play cost deniers to play really defensive against Cross and against that Death X play, right?
Yeah.
With the new options I added, I'm sticking with the blue. I really like the blue. I really think that Vmon still just applies that pressure, draws you the extra card, makes it so your opponent has to deal with it on the next turn. It's my favorite thing to draw in my hand on turn 1. And I get it pretty consistently, oddly enough. Moving into our next level 3s, we're going Hagurumon. I still think that this is a mandatory 4 of. I don't know how to take it out. I mean, I was tinkering with that
Decadramon,
yeah, with the play cost of 5, draw 1, and draw 1 for every card that your opponent or every Digimon your opponent has. I was looking at that.
I think you're better off with this because that's more of like once they've already set up the board, and you don't want to draw that late in the game.
Yes.
Within this deck, right?
Yes. So it does give you that black source on the field, which you don't always have with the blue base. So it does help with that too for options. We're moving into level 4s. I found room for 2 Mechanori still. I think this is really good in this format. We're going to start talking about some of the format specific stuff. Moving into Machinedramon for BT-10, I think Mechanori is very important because you have a lot of decks like Bloomlord going wide with small bodies. You have Jesmon, Genkumon going wide with small bodies. I know Jesmon does give him that DP boost for a turn, so that's a little scary, but overall, Mechanori I think is a really good counter, and if you do need to get that extra draw on the Haguru, you can Digivolve it. Still the best blocker in the game, in my opinion. So that's it, guys. That's it for 3s, 4s, and 3s and 4s. 2s, 3s, 4s. That's all we got. Now we're moving into the part of the deck that everyone has questions about. How many level 5s do you play? What level 5s do you play? And especially with Machinedramon, which level 5s do you play more than one of? Because that's the tricky part, right? Like, because you only get that memory gain if they're unique sources underneath of them. So we're going to talk about the two ofs first. And starting out, I think we just have to go blocker. I think that's kind of the most important play because that even with the memory gain back, that Machinedramon play is such an aggressive move memory-wise, you have to leave him as a blocker for the next turn. So having at least one of these sources underneath of him is pretty much key whenever you create Machinedramon from a hard play, in my perspective. They are good to tuck with Chaosdramon sometimes, but usually when you're tucking with Chaosdramon, you're either tucking that second of or you're tucking something to be aggressive. These are pretty much mandatory and staples, in my opinion. So moving into the next one, we're going Metal Greymon. Got that nice new artwork.
Such a good artwork.
I mean, we've been talking about that for like a year now. Like, when are we going to get it? When do we get it? We finally got it. And it's pricey. Like
It is. That one's going to retain its value for sure.
Absolutely, because it goes in so many decks. But I think that this is also a requirement in the deck to run 2 of. It's so aggressive to have your big boy out there that can't really die and be able to just swing at whatever your opponent. Like, this prevents a lot of hard plays.
It really does.
Like, this card creates pass turns where people are just like, well, I'm not going to put it out. I'm not going to give you 5 or 3. I'm not going to hard play anything because you're just going to kill it. So this changes the way the game works. And if you can Digivolve this on top of the Mechanorimon, you still get that great, like, baby Alter-S effect, you know?
Yeah.
Very good. Very, very good. And then moving into an update for BT-10, this card put in a lot of work in our cross-testing.
Yes.
Megadramon. Very, 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 very important in this format. So many 3-cost Tamers. In not just Cross, but I mean, you're talking other formats too. Like you're getting the green one, right, for Bloom?
Yep.
Yeah, 3 cost. Very good in this format. Plus, I mean, you get that option, right? Like you can delete a Tamer or a 3 cost. So very good against Jessamon too, because you're deleting those Sistermon Blancs.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what their DP's boosted to, right?
Yeah.
Very good. Very
being able
good
to
card.
kill off a lot of 3 costs is so effective in this format.
Yeah, and with the Megadramon,
yeah.
being able to tuck 2 of them,
Yeah.
like being able to tuck a second of the same one, swing and kill 2.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
it,
You know,
love
because a lot of times you run into the problem when you're playing against the Jessamon where they have that DP boost on all their sisters.
Yeah.
So I can get around Crimson Blaze. You can get around Fireball or whatever. You can't get around play costs. Jessamon doesn't increase the play cost of the sisters, so that's good.
Yes. And then moving into the last of the 2s, we're talking Metal Greymon here. These are all my 2 ofs. This Metal Greymon I have been a fan of for a very long time, not just in this deck, but as a Zoo player. I love the 5 cost hard play. I run a lot of Tamers in this deck, so I never have a problem getting that to go off. But when you delete one of your opponent's Digimon, you gain a memory. Like that, it just pairs so well with the Megadramon and the Metal Greymon and a couple of the other level 5s we're about to show you. But it's a very, very good card. It's very good for if you brick and you need to get a level 5 out to get that Chaosdramon on because you don't have the Machinedramon in your hand. Very good card. Also moving forward, when we get that Metal Tyranno,
Yeah.
or when you delete one of your opponent's Digimon, you get to trash the top of their security. Oh, this Metal Greymon and this Metal Greymon are just going to be fantastic.
It's going to be so much better.
Together. Yeah, very, very good. So let's tuck those up because we're going to get into all these 1-ofs. Because that's how this deck works. It's luck of the draw, right? So you want to make the deck as consistent as possible, but also as versatile as possible, especially for this format. So we got the new card from the format from ST12, the Volcanomon. Been waiting for this card for this deck. I think we talked about it in a couple other videos, but like just blatant security attack +1.
Very nice.
You can tuck it with the other security attack +1 and just do some damage. I mean, we got these. I'll just put it out. It's right here. So we got, if you can tuck both of these, and you're swinging for 3 checks.
That's pretty good.
Very, very nice. The Volcanomon's also very good because it is a blocker. So I did find myself bricking, like you do with every deck. But I found myself with kind of a bricky hand where I had all level 5s in my hand. Didn't have the Metal Greymon. My opponent gave me 4 memory, but I did have the Volcanomon. So I was able to hard play this. But it is a blocker, and it's a 9K blocker.
It's
so
a
it's
big blocker.
not a terrible hard play if your opponent gives you enough memory or if you set yourself up to have a lot of memory.
Yeah.
Very good. I keep finding myself with this Megadramon trying to take it out, and then I just can't.
The on-play's too good,
The on-play's
right?
too good. Especially with the level 7s in this deck, being able to take out the Saichimons and just being able to take out little bodies. This is also very good against Bloomlord. As you're taking out those red veggies or whatever, red veggies.
Yeah, the Sunflowmons or whatever is 3K or left the
you're popping
Weedmon.
the 3Ks,
Yeah.
and it sets you up with the level 5 to go into a level 6 and get that 2 kill with the Chaosdramon. Very good. And then we're going to talk about another play cost killer. We're talking Metal Mame, another very, very good card. I mean, if you stack this right, you're swinging with your Machinedramon and things are just dying across the board before your swing even goes through. Right?
Yeah.
So very good Metal Mame, kills a 5 cost or less. This will kill Sistermon CLs.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're playing to the format, right? Like, we're looking at what's popular. We're doing a lot of play testing. I mean, I'm pretty sure between our core group of players, they built pretty much every deck in this format almost already. So it's been fun to kind of play against and see, like, what menagerie of level 5s do I need to be successful with Machinedramon? And moving in, and we get all these new artworks every time.
Isn't it great?
So I love it. Like, now we got this new Metal Tyranno alt art. Gives it reboot. I found that this is really important, obviously, just because it pairs well with the blockers. I mean, you want to swing, you want to do all your damage, but you also want to set yourself up.
Yeah.
I see a lot of lists that do a 2-of this. If you want to do a 2-of, you can. This deck digs a lot with all the Tamers and stuff, so I don't have a problem finding it usually when I need to, but sometimes it does hide in your security or at the bottom of your deck and you don't see it. So that would probably be the one that I would recommend going 2-of if you did want to go 2-of on another one, but then you start kind of entering that mode where you have a lot of multiples. Since we're swinging at things, we're boosting DP. That's kind of the big one, right? So we're going Metal Greymon from BT-1 and Megadramon from BT-6. So we're doing plus 3K, plus 2K. I mean, that kind of goes without saying. You just want to make your Machinedramon. This will make him 16K. If you do need to swing over those Death X's, or you need to swing over those big bodies, right?
Yeah.
So this will make him 16. Make a Chaosdramon 17. Metal Gray still happens. So a lot of good stuff there. I did end up taking out the Gigadramon because I just didn't find that 2K on my opponent's turn that useful.
Yeah.
Especially in this format. It seems like everything is 13K.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they're going to swing for 13K and you're going to block and trash 2 sources, what's the point? You might as well block with 11K and trash 2 sources, right? So,
Makes a lot
I
of
think
sense.
the offensive DP is still very important. And with that is kind of the techie one that I know you love. This is your favorite one.
I love it.
Because you don't see it in a lot of lists, but it puts in work. So, like I said, I do have enough Tamers. This is the Rise Greymon from BT4. If I have a Tamer in play, you can minus 2K DP from one of your opponent's Digimon. So essentially, you can use it as a DP boost, or you can pop another Digimon on your opponent's field. So between like this Rise Gray, Metal Mame, Megadramon, like you're just and swinging at things. I mean, if you have the right stack, you can kill like 4 things in one swing.
Clear a board with
Yeah,
one swing of a Machinedramon. That's pretty satisfying.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So that's it for level 5. So what do we got? 17.
That's it, right?
That's my magic number. I said 16 was my magic number last format. I think 17 is more consistent this format, and I've been happy with it. I think having that one extra, it's crazy how that one extra card can really just change the way your whole deck plays in this game. So, I mean, we're going to talk level 6s here. Any crazy surprises there? We're going to go 4 of the boy. I mean, we got a lot of good updates coming with the formats to come, but out of all the formats, even through SD12,
I think you still play
BT12,
4.
You still play 4, this guy. There's just no way around it. That's what you do, right? I did make a change to my Chaosdramons. I went down to 3.
3.
I did. So I was ending up with Chaosdramon on my hand all the time, and he is so situational because he kind of forces you to hard play a 5 if you have him in your hand and you're not confident in drawing a Machinedramon because you want to get the guy out or get a guy out that does some damage that can utilize the inheritables of those level 5s. So I find myself playing a little more reckless when I ran 4 of these. I think it's better to run 3 because you don't end up with like a ton of them in your hand. I was finding myself trashing these in my hand, like out of my hand with the Gurus because I kept drawing them and I didn't need them. So dropped one of these and went to 17 level 5. So we're good there. And then we're going to talk Tamers now. We do have level 7s, but we're going to save those to last. So we're going to talk Tamers. I don't think you get around this card either.
It's too good.
I don't think so. I mean, you got Analog Youth is probably, I think, the best Tamer in the Machinedramon set. I've experimented with every black Tamer under the sun, and this is still the most consistent, the most used, the most usable, I should say. I mean, it lets you grab any Digimon, doesn't matter if it's a machine or not, and then it just loads your trash, right?
That's exactly what you need.
And I think that like there is that argument, like, well, I play Analog, and then it always trashes something I need. Right, like an option or something. Well, it's like, well, then run more analogs. Because every list I see where people complain about that, they're like, well, I only run 2 of them, and it always trashes stuff the wrong way. I'm like, well, then run more. That way you get more filter. You know, it's only a 2 cost. So it's like if you trash an option that you need, well, there's probably another one in there that you can use, right?
And that's
so
just what learning the game is, right?
Absolutely.
Like you learn, like there's a reason why you have 4 ofs and 2 ofs, so you can increase your consistency, you know. And yes, sometimes you do trash your options, but it's not the end of the world. If you build your machine right, you can get around if you trash a good option, right? One game.
And one thing that I found helps with that is Black Izzy. So another awesome new artwork. Very happy with these. Love the texture. One thing I found myself doing with enough memory, or even like going into my next turn, is I'll play, if I have both of these in my hand, you play the Izzy first, you scout, right?
Yeah.
Scout, rearrange, figure out, well, is the analog worth playing? Is it going to trash something I need? You know, it gives you that peak. So very, very good combo of these two. I know I run a lot of Tamers because I got 2 more left, and this is kind of another big change in my deck. You're going to think I'm running Kazus, right? Like,
yeah, that's what you ran before, the Kazu. It's all machine, cyborg?
Yes. Nope. Took it out.
Ooh.
I think Izzy and Joe is a much better card for this format because of how wide boards go, right? Like BT-9, we're talking big stacks, big stacks, big stacks, right? You're talking your War Greymons, your Alphamons, your
Metal
Galmons,
Garurumons.
Metal Garurumons. Like everyone's going one big stack. They could play around this pretty easily. This format, though, I mean, you're playing Jessmon. Are they going to win with one body?
They're not going to win if they don't play
They
those
can't even
sisters.
attack you without giving you memory with this thing, right?
Yep.
So, and then Bloomlord goes wide, goes crazy wide. I think everything in this format essentially just goes crazy big, right? So I think that this is a much more consistent way to gain memory. Instead of just gaining one, if you have the right card in your field, it relies on your opponent to kind of play their cards the right way, because it might make them hesitate. Like, I'm not going to raise and get this. Like, they might hesitate on raising, whereas without this Tamer out, they would just raise so they get that extra Digivolve next turn and get that extra draw, which might change the game. So very good. Also with like the Hagurumons and the Mechanorimons, like people are going to be trying to kill those.
Yep.
So you're going to get that extra draw when they die on your opponent's turn. So I run 8 Tamers. I know it sounds like a lot, but man, you get that extra memory. I mean, on top of the Izzy, starting your turn with 5 feels real good.
That's pretty good.
In Machine. Feels real good. Gives you a lot of options, especially with how much this deck needs to dig with the Hagurus and the analogs. It's very, very good to have that extra memory at the beginning of your turn to either play your boys or hard play a level 5 if you need to. I mean, if you have 5 memory, you can hard play that Metal Greymon and still Digivolve the Chaos Dramon, tuck a card, kill 2 bodies, all in the same turn. So
I mean, how many times have you, with this Tamer combo, right? When they finally kill off the machine, or if they kill off the Chaos Dramon, you suspend the Analog Youth, push the memory from 0 to 1, and then all of a sudden it's your turn at 5.
Yes.
That's a huge play there.
Very much so. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Also, same thing with the Izzy. Like when they hit that in security,
Yeah.
you reveal all black cards, which doesn't always happen in this deck. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is a 4 cost 9 times out of 10. But you get that extra view of what you're doing. So let's move into options, right? So we're going to get into, let's do the options that people know well what I play. We're going Kaiser Nail and 1 Tidal Wave. I don't like using more than one of each of these. I feel like it really clogs your deck. It is such a techie thing that when it happens, it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
It goes off, or they hit like a Tidal Wave in security. They have to deal with 3 bodies. One of those is a Machinedramon that comes out. Tuck cards, pass turn, all that good stuff. I really like the one of Kaiser Nail because it is very, it's cheap, and you're able to play Machinedramon, gain on memory, essentially if you have the right pieces. I do like running one and one because the Tidal Wave is such an aggressive move. There's been so many times where it's literally just been like, I'm going to play out 2 level 5s from under this Machinedramon, gain 2 memory because one of them's usually the Metal Greymon.
Yep.
So you can do it for 5, create 6 and 2 level 5s, and just be like, you only got 1 security left. I'm going to make you do something on your turn.
Yeah.
So very intimidating cards when they hit correctly. You do trash them sometimes, but that's why I've kind of designed this deck to be a little bit more versatile and not rely on just this tech. I know a lot of people.
That's not your whole deck.
No, and I've tried it with it being the whole deck in mind, and I think that this is so much more consistent because it's a lot more versatile. So now we're going to talk about the new tech in the deck, right? We're talking about what makes this deck more competitive in BT-10.
Yeah.
I found room for 3 Howling memory boosts.
Wow.
Now, I know people are like, that's a weird thing to put in Machinedramon.
That is. Yeah.
But this has put in so much work in my testing that I went from a 2 to a 3 because I loved it so much.
Yeah, but everything else you're playing as a 2 of, that obviously shows your commitment to this card.
Yes. It has been so good in playing against Cross, especially Blue Flare, where you typically don't have more than 2 sources underneath anything. And you a little blue on blue. Very good. Even in security, it really changed. Like, Machine plays totally different when you get that extra memory.
Yeah, all of a sudden you have 2 extra memory. You can make anything you want happen.
Because what's everyone's goal when they're playing against you, right? They're like, I'm going to set him to 1, and he can't do anything. Because you need at least 12 to play Machinedramon regardless, right?
Correct.
And you need 2 to, like, analog. You need 2 to do a lot of things, right? So this helps so much, and it controls board states. It's really good against Cross because you're like stripping sources, you're putting them in trash. You can be really strategic with this too when you're playing against Cross because you're allowed to look at your opponent's trash.
Yeah.
So it's like if they're playing Cross and you're like, how many Sparrowmons are in your trash?
Yeah, get rid of those Dorulus.
Get rid of the last Dorulu or the last of the pieces that they need to complete their X5 or their X4. Cross 5, Cross 4. It just does so much work. I love this thing. I mean, you get that extra DP or the extra memory on your next turn. I mean, it even works well against Jessamon because you can strip 2 sources off Jessamon, lock down one of the Sistermons. I tried to use it in the last format, and it
didn't work because we were playing one giant stack
Yeah.
with all the X antibody and the X antibody option you couldn't get rid of, and now we're getting away from that.
Yeah, for at least this format. I don't
Yes,
think we're going to see
for
a
at least
lot
this
of that.
format.
So, I mean, occasionally we're going to have that Black or Gray player that just comes back and just,
That's why you have different cards in the
Yes.
deck, though. Absolutely.
Okay, getting back on track. We're running one of the Attack of the Heavy Mobile Digimon. This was one that I thought when it came out, I was like, this is going to be the best card in the deck. It's really techy, and it's more of like a Blitz Omni. Like, I almost think, we were talking about this, like, you could almost replace this with a Grumblemon and be just as effective with it.
Yeah.
It does. It's better in security, and with the Metal Greymon, you can still blitz and swing at your opponent's Digimon,
which is very useful.
Have the DP boost. It is beneficial. So I do run a 1-of. It doesn't hurt my feelings too much when it gets trashed, like by an Analog Youth. But it is nice to have in your hand later in game.
Yep.
This is just one of those cards that you hate having in your opening hand.
Yeah.
Right? This one, the Tidal Wave, the Kaiser Nail. That's why I'm like 1-of, because I don't want these early on. I don't mind the Howling Memory Boost because you can stack those. Like, you can really slow your opponent down and just start stacking Memory Boosts for when you're ready to make that big play. These guys you want to see later in the game.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I'm not trying to compare Raidenmon to this deck.
Yeah.
They're similar, yes.
Yes.
Raidenmon's obviously inferior to this deck. But Raidenmon, that was the thing, is you wanted that as a 4-of.
Oh, 100%.
You want that because that's the only way you can play Raidenmon and get any value, whereas you have so many ways to get value that you don't need the rush.
Yes.
You don't need the blitz. So I agree with the 1-of in this deck.
Now, that being said, it is the funnest way to win this game. To be able to, like, machine... pitch something, tuck a bunch of cards, and then just blitz for game. Like, it is satisfying. So now that's it for options and Tamers and level 6s. We're gonna have this deck all laid out for you at the end, but we're not forgetting the 2 stars of the deck. Well, I guess the final.
Yeah, so we were talking in previous videos about changing level 7. So there was a new level 7 coming out in a starter deck that we were thinking of, we experimented with.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Okay. So I sent out probably, 30 messages to people when I saw the reveal for this card.
Yeah.
The Ragnalordmon. Now, I thought that was going to be the best card instead. But that was back when I was doing the Tidal Wave and the Kaiser Nail, kind of like that's kind of what the deck was geared for.
Yeah.
But the consistency of that, I just found, I did try a couple test runs with it, and it just never went off.
Yeah, it didn't really work as well as you wanted.
So I think that we're just going to talk about the last level 7. Okay, the only level 7. And I still think that it rules supreme in this format. And the reason we don't run the Ragna compared to this is because this is not a dead card in your hand. This isn't ever... Like, as your opponent plays, this just gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and just gets better. So it's like, it always feels good to have this in your hand. Even if you open your hand with this, it doesn't feel bad because it almost feels like a security blanket, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the more they build up, the more excited you get, right? Like, play one more Tamer. I dare you. Like, just do it. And then it also, like, even if they play the Saichimon or they play the new Solarmon or the Jakurimon, like, you can still Digivolve this on top of the Machinedramon for 6. Avoid all of the garbage that they're trying to do. Kill all that stuff. And then also, Kaiser or Tidal the machine right back out. With the new Volcanomon, the Death X gets Security Sack +1. I mean, it's got a lot of good things going for it. I haven't found a way to take this out, and honestly, I don't know if I will. Unless they restrict this card.
I mean, you tried every 7 that you could have access to.
Oh, yeah. I've tried them all. I've tried all the Omnimons. I've tried the Ragna. I mean, we've tried... I think
both
Ragnas.
Ragnas.
I think I tried Chaosdramon at one point.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there's all kinds of stuff. So, that's it, guys. We'll get it all laid out for you. And have fun with it. Play with it. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, let me know. I'll tell you why. Think the way I think. Here it is, guys, all laid out in its glory. I love this deck, and it's gonna keep changing. I mean, I already know what I'm gonna change for BT-11, at least what I'm gonna test with. So this is always when I bring these to you guys. This is not like this is what I'm gonna test with. Like, I've tested a bunch with this, and I like this a lot. This is how I'm playing it for the format. I don't think I'm gonna make any changes to it. until BT-11, and then I got some stuff I'm going to figure out. So thanks for joining us. We got tons more BT-10 content coming. We're filming all day today. We got tons of decks that we've been testing and playing out. Feel free to join us. Check them out in the links below and everything else.